What do you get when you combine the tight gunplay from The Division, the amazing open world freedom in Just Cause 2, and the great vehicle controls and story from Grand Theft Auto 5? I'll tell you what you don't get: Ghost Recon Wildlands. I like open world games, I love shooter games. I don't like jack-of-all-trade AAA games, half-assing it at every corner. Ghost Recon Wildlands is a game that does just that. So if you don't know anything about Wildlands, it's an open-world third-person shooter with missions, co-op, customization, and very, very long cutscenes. First and foremost, this is beta footage, but with the game releasing in less than 2 weeks, who knows if any of this is going to get fixed. I gotta say, I'm really disappointed with this one, and let me tell you why. Wildlands is without a doubt the most intrusive game I have ever played. Look at all of this garbage on the screen. Anytime you do anything in this game, there's going to be some sort of pop-up, motion graphic, or box prompt that you're going to have to clear out. You'll be holding backspace a lot to get rid of these messages. It reminds me of the bots in Diablo 2. There's just shit everywhere. You're going to be constantly clicking on stuff, holding down awkward buttons on your keyboard to get rid of it. It's really annoying and extremely intrusive. Bad interface design. Now the controls. You'll be wishing you were playing Grand Theft Auto 5. The controls are terrible, floaty at best, unsatisfying at worst, especially in vehicles. Yeah, it's one of those open world games where the cars and jeeps feel like they're driving on a slip and slide. Just look at how the car drives down the hill. It looks like it's driving on an ice cream sundae. And the helicopters, oh my god, probably the worst chopper controls in recent memory. All they had to do was copy the chopper controls from Battlefield 4. It's all they have to do. But in this game, it's jerky, sensitive, and very unresponsive at the same time. You're going to feel like you're hopped up on cocaine, the way the chopper takes off and just does whatever it wants. Now, combat, I've got some beef with you too. It's incredibly standard in Wildlands. It's like The Division meets Borderlands, but without the tight, snappy controls or innovative gun design. The guns are just boring. The same bog-standard modern military guns that we've seen again and again. The weight behind them too feels really weak. It's like you're shooting a pea shooter. And worse, there's not a lot of impact to the gunplay. But above all else, Wildlands has some really inconsistent artificial intelligence. On one hand, you can shoot, snipe, blow up enemies while guards 50 feet from you flat out ignore you. But on the other hand, step 1 foot forward too much, and you'll have what seems to be like 15 guys raining down on you with laser precision. And if you're out of combat, traversal turns into the opposite of a fun game like Just Cause. You can simply teleport to your friends, which basically turns Wildlands into a warp fest. Remember the fun ways you can get around Just Cause and the island with the grappling hook and the amazing movement system? Replace that with clunky controls and you've got Wildlands. So there's really no point to enjoying the big open world because it's not fun to drive vehicles or walk around when everything feels so bland and unwieldy. You'll follow missions at the heat of some really bad voice acting and what I believe to be some of the cringiest terrorist stories the genre has ever seen. The characters are so bland, wooden almost, and I'd recommend skipping the horrendously long opening cutscene immediately. Now let's get the elephant out of the room right away: the performance. This game runs like shit, and the optimization is absolutely terrible. The way it's meant to be played. Okay, Nvidia, I'm sitting on a GTX 1070 with an overclocked i7 at 4.4. Fully decked out, and I can't even get 60 frames per second on this beast. The footage you're looking at is medium settings with every single demanding effect, anti-aliasing, anisotropic filtering, God rays, motion blur, everything turned off. This isn't something you fix in 12 days. Expect horrible performance if you're considering purchasing this game. And the fidelity, wow, this game looks pretty old. I'm not trying to trash the game here, I'm just being realistic. Textures are okay, but everything else is pretty dire. It's one of those very brown and green army looking games. Yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of dirt and a lot of brown and a lot of gray. And oh my, those bugs. Many people on the Steam forums and Reddit right now are posting that they're getting disconnected every 30 minutes or can't even log into Uplay altogether. Yep, another wonderfully optimized Uplay game. Don't we all just love Uplay? Lastly, I do want to talk about how you're actually going to be playing Wildlands. It's an open world game, so you have a lot of primary objectives, but there's also side missions to do if you can stomach traversing the maps with the terrible vehicle controls. But it turns out the majority of the side missions I played were really boring, repetitive, and uninspired. Most of them involve, you guessed it, killing a bad terrorist man with a gun. Kill him and then move on to the next one, and then the next one. It's an open world that feels really big and wide, but very shallow due to how empty it is. Kind of like No Man's Lie. Characters, NPCs, and civilians feel so lifeless. They just walk by you without saying anything. NPCs are bland, and the cutscenes involving your characters and the mission carriers really have no personality whatsoever. The Division and other open world games do mission structure a lot better and go out of their way to get creative. Wildlands seems like an afterthought. After playing the Division Survival, the Uncharted series, or the Gears franchise, it's really not that hard to integrate good story into a game that has solid third-person shooting mechanics. But there are some good things about Wildlands. Well, at least better than shit. The character creator is actually kinda good. You can make some pretty badass looking guys. There's a lot of angry faces, so if you want to get your smug on, Wildlands does have you covered. And the art design inspired by that South American flavor setting is pretty cool. But at the end of the rainbow, just save yourself the money and pick up Andromeda on the 21st because that game is going to be fucking awesome. Wildlands is not going to be the next big game. It's not going to be the next big open world shooter. You can try out the game for yourself, and if you agree with me, thumbs this video up and tell me what your problems were with Wildlands. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe here if you want to see more of our videos in the future, and have yourself a kick-ass day.